For nearly half a century, the James Bond series have been a constant staple of our cinematic culture. While the formula for the films have not changed, there have been subtle adjustments to mirror a more forward-thinking audience. These changes can be clearly seen in the character development of all the Bond girls, who have become more empowered and complex as time goes on. The women of the 1960s tended to be nothing more than animated centerfolds. The truth is, Bond would not have become a success if it hadn't succumbed to some of the mainstream thoughts of that era. The Bond girls of the 60s were nothing more than a source of on-screen eye candy, women to be looked at, not heard.
And number two?
Rule number 2, in Japan, men always come first, women come second.
I might just retire to here. Dink, meet Felix Leiter.
Hello.
Felix, say hello to Dink.
Hi, Dink.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
I changed into something more comfortable. Oh, I hope I did the right thing.
Well, you did the right thing.
Ironically, by the 1970s, with the feminist movement having gained more momentum, the Bond women suffered from a lack of depth, being portrayed as caricatures of the real thing.
You're only my second mission, you know.
Even when Bond women are given greater responsibilities, they wind up following the same formula of the 1960s.
Oh, a snake. I forgot. I should have told you. You should never go in there without a mongoose.
Oh, I should have never gotten into any of this. I'm going to be completely useless to you.
Oh, sure we'll be able to lick you into shape.
Good night, Mr. Bond.
Mrs. Bond.
Please, please don't leave me alone tonight. James, please promise me.
All right, darling, if you insist, I promise.
Give me the key.
Ironically, female agents do not know how to drive.
Can you play any other tune? Let's try reverse. That's backwards. Would you like me to try it?
Whatever skills they possess, their one great prowess reside in their bodies. Women's bodies are designed to pleasure others, notably James Bond, who ritually rewards himself in the course and at the close of all his dangerous assignments.
When one is in Egypt, one should delve deeply into its treasures. In my country, Major, the condemned man is usually allowed a final request.
Granted.
Let's get out of these wet things.
After a short hiatus, the Bond girls of the 90s came back with a vengeance.
What would I ever do without you?
As far as I can remember, James, you've never had me.
Hope springs eternal.
You know, this sort of behavior could qualify as sexual harassment.
The character M is now played by a woman who establishes herself as different from her predecessors by being cold, blunt, and openly disliking Bond.
Good. Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War, whose boyish charms, though wasted on me, obviously appeal to that young woman I sent out to evaluate you.
Point taken.
Not quite, 007. If you think for one moment I don't have the balls to send a man out to die, your instincts are dead wrong. Bond, this may be too much for a blunt instrument to understand. But arrogance and self-awareness seldom go hand in hand. I have to know I can trust you, and that you know who to trust. And since I don't know that, I need you out of my sight. Go and stick your head in the sand somewhere and think about your future. Because these bastards want your head. And I'm seriously considering feeding you to them.
I'm the money.
Every penny of it.
The Treasury has agreed to stake you in the game. All right.
In Casino Royale, Vesper Lind was promoted from little more than an assistant in the novel to a representative of the HM Treasury, and fortunately, she has more depth than many other portrayals.
Never let you forget it. Now, having just met you, I wouldn't go as far as calling you a cold-hearted bastard.
No, of course not.
But it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine you think of women as disposable pleasures rather than meaningful pursuits. So as charming as you are, Mr. Bond, I will be keeping my eye on our government's money and off your perfectly formed house.
You noticed.
Even accountants have imagination. How was your lamb?
Skewered.
We now enter a world where Bond isn't the only one sizing up his friends and enemies.
Expect me to wear?
I need you looking fabulous, so that when you walk up behind me and kiss me on the neck, the players across from me will be thinking about your neckline and not about their cards. I have a dinner jacket.
There are dinner jackets and dinner jackets. This is the latter, and I need you looking like a man who belongs at that table.
She does not succumb to Bond's charms, even when Bond believes she has. Sex with Bond does not turn her into a traitor to her government.
I'm gonna need the other $5 million to buy back in.
I can't do that, James.
Look, I made a mistake. I was impatient. Maybe I was arrogant, but I could beat him.
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Sorry? Why don't you try putting that in a sentence, like maybe, sorry Lashif's gonna win, continue funding terror and killing innocent people. That kind of sorry?
You lost because of your ego. And that same ego can't take it. That's what this is about. All you're going to do now is lose more.
Well, then you're an idiot.
I'm sorry?
I said you're a bloody idiot.
Look in my eyes. I can beat this man, you know that.
Get your hand off my arm.
What I love most about Bond women, and especially Bond women of today, is not only are they beautiful and sexy, but they're also have evolved into very intelligent, articulate, and very well-equipped adversaries for Bond. You know, they're no longer sort of the window dressing, and as women have empowered themselves, the movies have changed with them.
While James Bond's character has remained consistent throughout the franchise's history, the Bond girls are a different story. While gender politics in post-feminist Western society updated the roles of Bond girls, they have not changed much outwardly, nor has the formula of Bond's seduction of them been altered. They are still beautiful, sexy, physically idealized representations of womanhood, and, for the most part, still fall for Bond's charm. However, they no longer fit the sex kitten stereotype of the earlier films. Though they sometimes need to be rescued by him, and though all eventually fall into his arms, they are not helpless. They are more assured of their sexual power over men than ever before and demonstrate a confidence equal to Bond's own. They no longer need Bond to survive. They are in control of their own destinies.
What's your name?
Ryder.
Ryder what?
Honey Ryder.
James Bond.
Ksenia Sergeyevna Onatop.
On a top?
Onatop.
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.